finish him off. And oh my goodness, I never heard so much shooting. It was bang, boom, bang, boom, boom, bang. And finally I caught up to him. I said, where'd he go? And he said, he's down there somewhere. He's down there standing. And I said, well, shoot him. And boy, he pulled up on him and he, boom, and I seen the deer drop. And I said, well, you finally got him. And he said, no. He said, I seen him falling in the scope and the gun went off.
Oh my word.
I shot right over his back.
Good morning, it's August 5th, it's a Saturday, and we're going to head over and visit Mark Weader over toward Burnham, about a half-hour drive from my place. Going to run up there, visit him, interview him, and he said about being able to put this barrel from Bobby Hoyt and this piece of soft maple I got from Sam Sheaffer. So, going to head over there and see how it's done. Alright, well, I just stopped over here at my neighbor's wood shop and planed it down. As you can see, it's nothing but a piece of simple, no curl, soft maple. Wank puss down here at my neighbor's shop. Head to Mark's and get a barrel in this thing.
Talk about the Blue Ridge and the old lonesome pine. Hey Brian.
Hey Mark, how you doing?
Pretty good, how about you?
Good.
Oh,
Saturday and you're down at the shop.
yeah, just about every Saturday.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's the downfall of having to work another job. You gotta work weekends too.
Yeah? How many hours do you work a week doing this?
I try to get 4 hours a day and then weekends as much as I can. It may be 2, maybe 10
I see.
Saturdays and Sundays.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to go over what you do as far as your business here, and your son's away, and we've been trying to make this work for a while, but
Yep.
we'll have to do another part with Max.
Yeah, because
So-
he's the shooter in the family.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too old, my eyes are going.
So yeah, let's start with how long ago you been doing this, or how did you get your start in muzzleloading and then the business?
Dick Getz.
Is that right?
Yep. I started muzzleloader hunting. My dad got me a muzzleloader when I think I was 14. A Thompson Center Hawkins. It wasn't anything to do with muzzleloaders. It's just so we could hunt an extra 2 weeks.
Right.
That's all it was back then. You know, we didn't know nothing. And we fumbled our way through it, and then I met Dick Getz. I think I was 21 or 22 when I met Dick Getz. I already shot like probably 3 or 4 deer with the muzzleloader, got lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I needed something, so I stopped in at Getz's shop. And he didn't work there at the time, but I seen one of Getz's sporters that he built. Donnie let me hold it, and it only weighed like 6-7 pounds. It's like, why am I lugging around a 12-pound Hawkins when I could get that? But he didn't make them. He said his brother made them, Dick, and made that one. Well, then I was archery hunting back at Ken Hassinger's, and Dick lived back there. And Ken Hassinger introduced him to me. And we got to talking, and then Dick built me one of them, if you want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me, it's over here. It might be a little dirty.
This was their sporting gun.
This was Dick Getz's sporting gun. It's sort of taken off an English sporting rifle. And he had built this, and I watched, and I got real intrigued, and
Wow. So
That's
okay.
how I got into it.
Do you know about what year that was that this was built?
Oh, let me see. Had to be 91, 92.
Okay.
And then we went another step. This one here is the one he built. Here, lift that one.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Nothing there. He built that and he signed it. And actually,
yep.
he signed it. We swapped the lock from here to the pistol because we hardly use this anymore. But Max shot his first muzzleloader deer with this.
I see.
That was his first flintlock deer up at camp.
What caliber is that gun?
45. He made a hen of a shot. It was about 50 yards broadside standing there, and he dropped it right in her tracks. I forget how old he was. I know he was on his mentor youth. But
Oh, so he was just a little guy.
yeah, he was just a little guy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And Max is what, 17 now?
He'll be 17 come October 10th.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, then Dick got me into this, and I got hooked on it.
Right.
And
So he had shaping machines and stuff? Or did he do everything by hand?
that one there, he had Fred Miller put the barrel and shape that
Okay.
and stuff, and we built that. Well, I thought that was pretty neat, and I wanted to get into some sort of muzzleloader industry. So I bought a lathe, and we were going to get into making pistol barrels. Donnie agreed to rifle barrels for us, and we just shaped the outside of them. But getting Dick to work was like pulling hen's teeth. It was,
Yeah.
he was very talented, but he didn't like to work.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, he was something.
He just didn't put much time in the shop, or?
No, he was one of them people, and I ain't ever going to badmouth the guy because he was great. He was one of them people that if it was something new and challenging, he'd be all over it. He'd do it, oh man. But to get him to do another one.
Yeah.
It was like once he completed that task, he did it.
But I can understand that.
Yep.
Like, you want the challenge.
Yeah, and that's how he was, and people didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he did a painting. He was an artist, too. He did a snowy owl painting, and it was beautiful. And Kenny Hassinger sold it within 10 hours after it was done. He got him like $2,500 for that painting. It took him a week to do.
Wow.
And Ken said, you do more. This guy will buy every one you got. No, he's done. He didn't want to do no more.
Yeah.
It was unreal. It was just them things. He had to be in the right mood to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
But very nice guy. And I mean, he could do anything. Like he checkered that. He could do anything he put his mind to. He had the talent. I got paintings up there and pictures. Just little pen and ink stuff that the man did.
Yeah.
I mean, he drew an old man smoking a pipe, with a pencil one day. Just sitting there while we were talking. And he went to crumple it up, and I said, can I have that? I have it framed up there. Everybody sees it. Who did that?
Yeah.
And he was just going to throw it out.
Right. He's just doodling.
And he said he'd make me the old lady to match. And even 10 years later, I still didn't get the old lady.
Yeah.
It was like he did that.
But I guess you'll never get it now.
Nope.
When did he pass?
Oh, shoot. It was in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
Because me and my wife got married in 93. And he was in my wedding. He was in my wedding. He was
cool.
One of my ushers. And it was probably 5-6 years after we got married, so it had to be in the 90s. Something.
I see.
I ain't really sure.
After meeting him, you knew you wanted to get into this. So what was the next step? You were trying to find a niche in the market?
We went up. I took a road trip to Coleraine Barrel Company.
All right.
And
Spruce Creek, right?
Yeah, up Spruce Creek. See if they would make me barrel blanks too, because Donnie said he would, but he said he was really busy. So I figured, if I'm going to get into this, I want two sources. Or another source, just in case. You never put all your eggs in one basket.
Right.
So I went up there, and I was talking to them guys, and they said, well, there's a guy in, I forget. It's over around Bellefonte, the town, and Milesburg. They got a stock carving machine, he wants to sell it. And the whole business. So I was bored. I had left there. He gave me his name and number. I left there, drove right there, and he took me a tour of his little business. He had it in a little one of them little barns that like the Mennonites Amish make, pulled in his backyard. He had enough room to move around, and that was it. I looked at it, and there was 2 other guys that wanted to go into this. So we got together and we bought the business. Well, the one guy lasted about 6 months, and the other guy lasted a year. Really? And I ended up buying the first guy out, and ended up buying the second guy out when we bought the business. Ended up having to buy them. The first guy wasn't that bad to buy out because he was only there 6 months, and we had actually lost money the first 6 months. It wasn't worth as much. And then the second guy, he's a real good friend of mine, still is. He had put the initial down money, and he told me just whenever you make the money, pay it back. So I paid him his down money. That's all he wanted. Wow. So I paid him that back, and I've been doing.
And that's the machine right there?
That's the machine I bought. I got that, the table saw, 18-inch grizzly bandsaw, and I'd recommend nobody ever buy grizzly products because they're not very good.
But the older ones weren't so bad, were they?
That is an older one.
Yeah.
That's from the 90s.
Okay. Well, my dad has a bunch of the grizzly stuff.
How about I put it this way? Grizzly ain't bad if you're a hobbyist.
Yeah. Industrial, why? What do you think? What would you recommend in a bandsaw Delta?
Well, this saw never gave me a problem.
Right.
The joiner came along, the old Powermatic joiner. That thing runs like a top.
6-inch joiner.
Yep, that's it.
And you got a 14-inch bandsaw. You bought that later.
Yeah, I bought that later. But I had to redo everything. If you look,
it's a huge band for
look, that ain't the same.
No.
I had to replace everything bearing-wise on it, and it's got a different motor.
Well, yeah, going through, what, 2.5, 3 inches. It takes a little bit of snot.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain a little bit of the machine, how the things operate, or what do you...
Yeah, I bought a Don Allen machine, Dakota Arms out in either South Dakota or North Dakota. He was a custom gun builder, and he could never get a stock that he wanted. So he built these for the gunsmiths. This isn't supposed to be a production machine. This is for the gunsmith that makes his own pattern up and wants to do one. Okay, but the guys turned them into making money, production. Turn them into a business. And in the muzzleloader industry, that's the best because a lot of people, like there, you see that?
Yeah.
I've got 20 guns laying there, or 10, I don't know how many, but this one and that one are the same. 2 lengths, everything's different.
Yeah.
And I know guys that he made 2 spindle machines that copied 2 at a time. Well, it's kind of hard for the muzzleloader guy. Like you're having one done now. Yeah. You want 2 of the identical guns done?
No.
No, you want one for your wife, and you want to do a Fowler for yourself.
Yeah.
So a 2 spindle machine would have been a little
too much.
Waste.
Yeah.
So it actually works great for the muzzleloader industry. That's what.
Unless you're doing like a large volume, like I've seen YouTube video Pecatonica, they have some for furniture machine and they do so many at once, but they're doing the same.
Yeah, but they're a big retail.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, they got a guy calls in and that's what he wants. Yeah. I can't set on a lot of inventory.
Sure.
I don't got that kind of money.
Yeah, I understand.
You're in this, you know what a piece of wood costs.
Yeah.
So if I just say I carve 10 of them up.
Yep.
And have them sitting here. How do
you know what barrel's going in it?
Yeah,
or how do you know what?
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you do that, it's better for me to have no inventory. I'll do it on order.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you got, let's see here. You basically got a machine that rides on slides here.
Yep.
With a duplicator. There's your guide.
Yep.
And there's your cutter.
And if you give me 10 minutes here, I'll throw one in and show you how it works.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
What you have here, you have all these templates.
How do the people know and what do they want and whatever, and then I'll go from there.
Well, that and maybe just explain how you basically shaping the wrist back. Yeah. You're putting a barrel in, a ramrod hole, and shaping the wrist back.
And a lock if they want.
Sure.
Okay. What happens in this business is most of mine are repeat customers that know what they want and they walk in, they know the patterns I got. But like this guy, this is Joe Pesta. I think that's his name, Pesta, Joe. And this is his first custom gun. Gonna get Sam Sheaffer to build it for him. He goes to a lot of shoots, but he finally decided to go for the custom gun. So he wanted a left-handed Lancaster. He bought a 38-inch 54 caliber barrel off Bobby Hoyt. We're going to drop that in. We're going to shape the back from the breech back shape. Then I put the barrel ramrod, and Sam's going to put the lock in there. Sam likes to put his locks in, but I can also put a lock in. It's 98% inlet.
Yeah.
You just got to drop it down the last 30 seconds and make sure everything's good on it if I do it.
Yeah.
But when customers come in and don't know what they want, they just go through my array of patterns over there and pick out what they want. And if their wood is big enough, which I have a lot of problems with people bringing me wood that, yeah, I fight like crazy to get a gun out of. And then they'll bring wood expecting to get like a Christian Springs rifle that's a great big wide butt and bring me a 2-inch piece of wood.
Yeah.
And think that you can get it because the butt plate on.
But now, like a Fowler not having a cheek, is that one you can get away with a thinner piece?
Yep, Fowlers.
The cheek is what creates having needed a wider piece, right?
Yep.
Mainly.
Fowlers. Southern Mountain Rifles, you can get away with a thinner piece. They were a little skinnier.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. And the one guy, I actually took a Lancaster and shrunk it because that's what he wanted. So if you feel the wrist on that one compared to the wrist on, there's the other Lancaster.
It's tiny.
Yeah, and here's the same gun.
Yeah.
So he bought a little barrel, I think it's a 32 caliber, really small. So he's gonna try to make it work. But the piece of wood, did you see I missed the cheek piece? This piece of wood was 2 inches thick and he wanted a Lancaster. It's kind of hard when your butt plate's 1 3/4 and your cheek piece sticks out.
Yeah.
And this guy wanted a Christian Springs. Takes a good piece of wood, missed the cheek piece. Because they get a 2-inch wide butt plate.
Yeah.
It's a transitional period.
Sure.
So, yeah, I run into that a lot.
I'm sure. I was looking at this one here, Mark, and I was like, from your cutter, and I said, for me, I'm going to shape this down and refine it anyway. So I said, I don't care about that. Just leave it like that, because he sands them down. And what were you saying there?
I don't know. I just like the presentation. It looks better. It looks like, well, I like to be proud of what I do.
Yeah.
So I clean all the machine marks off of it and get it all ready. I have a lot of customers that say, just let them go, but it's like this. You pick your gun up. You're happy with that. Okay? But you take it out and you show your buddy. And he says, my God, looks like a beaver chewed on that. Well, that's why I do it. Because everyone that leaves my shop, I like to clean up, make sure everything. That's why when I fit a barrel, I know a lot of the other places don't, but I do. I make sure and I square up the back of them.
Yeah.
And I do that all by hand.
Even though it's going to get final inletted anyway.
Yeah, I want to make sure that barrel goes in that gun before it leaves this place.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get it, it's already inletted. All you got to do is do your tang.
Yeah.
Maybe square up a little bit, because I'm pretty good at it, but I ain't the best. But square up your breech a little bit and then back. But
yeah,
I like to make sure it fits.
Understandable.
That way when I inlet a lock, it's at its spot. I measure out. I ask the guy how far out he wants the touch hole, and then I mark that, and then I set the center of the pan right there.
Oh, you asked the guy. I was going to ask you that because I think most of the barrels I've bought are almost all rice so far, other than the two Bobby Hoyts now, and it's like a 1/2 inch breech.
It's 1/2 inch breech.
Plus,
and I've got guys that want it to go right on the breech, just so they can put a 16th hole right in the breech. And I got the guys that want the 1/4 touch holes, 5/16 touch holes, and they tell me how far out to put the lock.
Alan Martin gave me that book that Chuck Dixon made of the Art of Building a Muzzleloader, and he suggested having it so it kissed the face of the touch hole of the breech plug. Yeah. He even dished the breech plug face out so that it matched. I like to build mine so that the touch hole has a little bit of metal between the threads of the touch hole and the face of the breech.
But if you look at originals, here I'll get that. They wanted the back of this to be flush with that. That's how they did it. And look where that would have fell.
Like in the breech.
Yeah. If you look at a lot of originals, the back of the pan is flush with the breech. Like that.
Yeah.
Now if you pull it out 5/8 inches, you're here.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody wants to copy originals, but if you tear an original apart, its threads are real coarse, and it's a real short, you know.
This is probably a Bobby Hoyt question, but I'm still trying to figure out how in the world somebody turns threads into something and stops. Do they turn it in slow and then go back out? How do you tap threads into something without going clear through it?
Oh, I know how Getz's did it. I watched them do it. They had a drill that they put a collar around the drill bit and locked it fast. They drilled it in. Okay. Then they took a reamer, which is more of a sharp shoulder, you know, and then they'd run it in until it stopped. And then they had a bottoming tap. They went in there until it hit the bottom.
A bottoming tap?
Yep, bottoming tap.
So it's one pass with the tap.
Yep. If you look at a tap like this, see how
that's not a bottoming tap, right?
Yeah, because you don't have any solid big threads still back there.
Yeah.
Well, what Getz's and them did was they take a bottoming tap and then grind it like this to get it down to where the threads actually.
Gotcha.
This ain't ground down far enough. It'd have been ground down to here. But a bottoming tap is like that. So
you're basically starting right in at the same width.
Yeah, you can start with a lead-in tap and then pull it out and then run your bottoming tap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you just explained to me. Now I know how I would do it if I ever had to.
Yep. They had round. They took 1/2-inch round steel, drilled through it with a set screw, and locked it on their drill bit and went in. And then they did the same thing with a reamer. Went in that far. That way it was 1/2 inch every time. Boom, boom, and then the tap went in till it hit the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this because I already did a couple steps before I got.
That's all right. So you basically cut out the profile. Or you marked out and cut out the profile with the bandsaw.
Yeah, and I square everything up.
Right.
Put a line on it. And that is 1 inch. I gotta set the machine up for, look at that, 56.5.
Now, am I okay to talk to you while this, or you gotta really keep
you can keep talking.
Okay. I don't want to screw you up.
No.
Does it ever get monotonous? Does it get to be a job, or you enjoy them?
Yeah. Watch yourself on the blue. Yeah, it used to be really fun, and I used to love to go to the shoots and stuff like that, but it got that busy that I can't go to the shoots because I got to work. Now it's like right now, my wife and kids are up at the camp, and I'm stuck here. I got work I got to get done for people. Yeah, I just had a customer said he don't have nothing to build, and he really like to have one today.
Yeah, how about it? That was me.
So we're going to try to get his barrel and ramrod in today. But I promised the guy I'd shape his gun, so I got to shape his gun first.
Well, like I said, if it don't happen, it don't happen.
Oh, it'll happen.
So you're setting up length here?
Yeah, length. And I already measured that gun.
This is Max's. This is the boys' pile. Yeah. But look at these. I mean, dude. You're a hunter. You ought to be able to tell me that one there. Like, tell me about this one. That's a stud.
That's a 8-point, 20-inch spread. Deer weighed 200 pounds. Shot it up in New York with my 45 caliber.
Oh, that's muzzleloader.
Yeah, muzzleloader.
Look how that G2 like. That's a little different. That's cool. And you got some freaking whoppers in there. Look at that 10. Or is it a 9? That's a 10.
This is the one I shot this year in New York with. It's not as heavy as this.
Really?
That I shot with the 45. This one I shot 3 years ago up there. That's New York.
You can almost tell that they're not local deer.
Yeah.
This one here I wouldn't have been able to tell you. Those two there are different looking.
This one I shot up at my camp. That was with my little 223.
You are kidding.
Yeah.
Look at the mass. And that's up in
McKean County. Yeah, that should have been Max's.
Look at the brow on that thing.
Yeah, that should have been Max's deer. Oh, he did have a couple holes in it.
Did he?
Yeah.
But the 223 is what took it down.
I hit it 2 times with the 223, and it was not going good, and then he finished it off with his 270 because he could run and keep up with it where I couldn't run.
Man, hold that thing out once. That is a beast.
Yeah.
Did you ever score it? What's it, probably like 130?
I have no idea what it scored.
Wow.
I have a bigger one. The bigger ones are up the house.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Gee
I
whiz.
have an 8-point up there I shot with a bow in New York. That was 235 pounds, field dressed. It was 9.5 years old, had no teeth.
Did him a favor.
Yeah. And then I shot a 10-point in New York with the bow. And that one scored 145. It actually would have scored more, but it had split brow tines, so they deducted. It was a perfect 8 with split brow tines. That thing, you can't hardly reach around the horns. It was just mass. But it should have been up in the... If it had been a 10, it'd have been up in the 180s.
Oh, my goodness.
But it was an 8 with split brow tines, so they deducted points. 3 minutes later, I looked out, and here come this big deer out through. And I threw the scope up on it, and it had horns. They were that big around, but they were only that high, busted off. Well, it went down through, and when it went down, no, it went up over. Well, I looked over again about 5 minutes later, and here come this deer down over. And it had 8 points. It was just nice 8-point. Well, I no sooner put my phone in my pocket, and that big boy come running all he could up out of the bottom. And he was looking, he was, you know.
He was bothered. Something bumped him.
Something chased him. And he ran into this brush pile, and he was looking back, and I threw the scope up, and I had one perfect shot for in this area, and I touched off. And he turned, and he ran straight at me, and he got 20 yards in front of me, and I plow, and he rolled, jumped back up, and took off up over the hill, and I heard, now what do we do? Here, Max. I was walking in the whole time, and by the time I shot my second shot, he was only 20 yards behind me. And I said, go get him. He said, he's hit. Go finish him off. And oh my goodness. I never heard so much shooting. It was bang, boom, bang, boom, boom, bang. And finally I caught up to him. I said, where'd he go? And he said, he's down there somewhere. He's down there standing. And I said, well, shoot him. And boy, he pulled up on him, and he, boom, and I seen the deer drop. And I said, well, you finally got him. And he said, no. He said, I seen him falling in the scope, and the gun went off.
Oh, my word.
I shot right over his back. Yeah, just on the center, getting everything done. This is just so I would hold it in the machine. And because my stalks are that long in the back, they're cut off. You never see them, and they're behind the butt plate. This one, because it's over.
Now that line wasn't centered on the end. Does that matter?
No, I had to center the distance in from this one.
Oh, okay.
Everything got to be the same as the other one.
So it's going to be a little wider on the cheek side.
Yes.
Makes sense.
This is the left-hander, and I got to see what I got here. And this, when this.
That's a nice piece of wood. It's got real tight curl. Is it hard maple?
Yeah, that's hard maple. Yeah, he paid $2.25 for that piece of wood.
Wow. Was it yours?
No, I got a guy that sells wood out of here. Okay, and now I got to do a little bit. This ain't set in there yet, so. Okay, I can take 3/8 off that.
So you put, what, a 5/8 diameter bit there, or is that half?
5/8 and 5/8.
That's what I figured.
Okay, and if I want to go, say I want to make this whole gun a 1/16 bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means it's got to be a 32nd top, side, bottom, like that. But when you use the stylus, you put a 30 seconds.
You just go a 32nd smaller than that one. No, larger.
No, people don't understand that. There's your 30 seconds. You put that under there. This can be 30 seconds. But now you need a 30 seconds here and a 30 seconds here.
Yeah.
Same here and here.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, the stylus got to actually be a 1/16 bigger. So
all the way.
It's got to be 11/16 stylus to give you a 30 seconds.
All the way around.
Yeah, because if you touch this side with the stylus and then you touch this side, if it's only 30 seconds bigger, you're
Right.
only cutting 15 thousandths bigger.
Right. Now, what you call this? A stylus?
Stylist, yes.
Okay.
It is the same thing as, and I make these, and I've got, if you look.
Oh, you
I've
make them.
got-
You turn them out.
Yeah, I got a lathe, so I turn these
Nice.
all the different sizes I want to step different everything I want.
Very cool. That's cool.
All right, we're gonna make some noise, but the first thing you gotta do, once you got it all set in there and you got your top and bottom.
Just make sure everything's tightened down.
Oh yeah, that too. touch, touch. But you make sure it touches everywhere and you got light under your stylus. Plenty of wood under there. Like this side, make sure it touches. Yep. Make sure it touches here. Hey, right there, I got that perfect. It's just gonna...
Yep.
See, that, and then you come over here, and this is your highest point on here, and plenty of wood. I probably could have kicked that over a good bit, but... Okay, ready to make some noise?
Yippers.
I gotta make sure everything's working.